Welcome. The purpose of this video is to show a little more about the HDx and APL adaptive platforms and to demonstrate content curation and what that looks like as a result in both of these platforms. Remember that in HDx and APL, you will be curating content. There is no option to link out in either of these platforms. HDx and APL are a little different in terms of what the content looks like. So I will walk through HDx first and then APL so you get a better understanding of what the content is going to look like, and then we'll discuss content curation along the way. For both of these platforms, during the course development, when you get to developing unit content, that content will be curated at a rate of about 2 units per week. Now, thinking of that in terms of curation, that is a lot of work that needs to be done on behalf of the SME during that time. So it's something to consider as you're looking at what this content looks like. The first platform we'll look at is HDx. So BU 106 was designed utilizing the HDx platform. We'll take a look at one of the units. Students would enter right into Blackboard here, and if they clicked on, say, Unit 5, they would be taken automatically to this window. So again, as we noticed in a previous video, the HDx experience is very engaging. There's an opportunity here to show a nice big background image. And again, similar to NBE, we have the unit topic and introduction to the topic, and then we jump right in with the first topic, in this case is teams. So this course and every course that we have really will follow a similar format to NBE. It's just that the presentation looks a little bit more sharp in this particular platform. In this case, we actually utilized an open educational resource. We had an ebook that we were allowed to ingest a lot of. And if that's the case in your course, you may find that you are a little bit text heavy. We want to make sure that we utilize the tools found in HDx to break up that text as much as possible so it's not overwhelming for our students. So in the case of this first section, we have this information here all about teams. We added a video to kind of break that up and emphasize some specifics on teams. As we go down, you can see that there's an alternating sort of black and white background that will automatically appear. That's sort of a feature of HDx. So in this next section, they're again looking at a video, doing some reading. We added a chart here. And then we get into some additional tools. So here we have what's called an accordion. And basically what that allows a student to do is hide and reveal text so that they're not overwhelmed by it, they're reading it at a rate that is best for them. So you can see here's another tool. This is a tabbed interface. These two tools, the accordion and the tab interface, are very useful for breaking up content that might be too much all at once. And so that, again, is something that you want to consider when you're selecting your content. In the case, again, of this course, we were using a textbook, but you may not. You may be just finding articles or watching videos and kind of, summarizing what is there, because we don't want these courses to be too text heavy. We do want them to be engaging. This, what I was just clicking through, are just another way to kind of show and hide text and kind of force students to engage with their interface. So something you want to consider. Again, all of this information that is in this particular course was gained from an open educational resource, an ebook. But if you were curating this content, the difference there is really who is writing the content. And in that case, that would be the SME. So let's say that you have an ebook, you have some articles, you would actually go out, read those resources, and then write the content as you want it to appear for the students. So consider the amount of time that is actually going to take. We know that that's a lot of time, and your instructional designer will definitely assist where they can with that. But that really is the primary role of the SME in determining what the best content is going to be. So just continuing along so you get a feel for an entire unit. You can see there's a lot of content here. Imagine writing all of this content. It definitely is a big undertaking, but we can come up with some great things. We have some very talented SMEs that work at Herzing, and we really do lean on them for that piece. So I'll zoom right down to the bottom. And each unit will end with a summary of some sort, and then we'll also follow up with knowledge check questions. So as it has been already described, in HDX there will be 10 to 15 knowledge check questions at the end of every unit. So every unit of content will have just questions at the bottom that will test students' knowledge of how did they do in this particular unit. Students will actually complete these right in the Realize It platform, submit their answers, and then if they have any assignments, those will also be there. Usually the last thing on the page will be the references. Now let's take another look at APL. This PS 101 class was designed using the truly adaptive personalized learning platform. So when students enter into a course that looks like this, that was designed like this, they'll be directed into the classroom, into a unit, and they will open a learning map that will guide them through their APL unit. So this platform looks a little bit different than HDX. Students will actually enter into the unit and be shown a learning map. Now this learning map is what was constructed by the SME and by the instructional designer at the onset of the course. So as was mentioned earlier, there's a lot more time that's spent early in this development, really trying to develop what is the path that students should take through this course. What topics definitely need to be learned before other topics? How granular can we actually make this so students get bite-sized pieces and can really be guided through the course based upon their knowledge? That's what this learning map is all about. So the first thing that they'll do is be asked about, well, what do you know about this stuff? So in this particular unit, Intro to Psychology, I'll say, I don't know much about that at all. So the system will come up with some questions to try to see, okay, how much do you actually know about this? So the student will answer these questions, and it'll give them some feedback. And then it will tell the student, okay, this is where I think you should start. So this is one component about how this Realize It system is truly adaptive. If I had answered, I know a lot about this topic, and then I could actually demonstrate that through my knowledge of those questions, it might plot me very far into the learning map. In the case of this, what is psychology and why do we study it? It's starting me right at the beginning. So the students will then go in and complete this topic area, and they'll read content. They might look at videos, might see some graphics. You can see in this case, there's an introduction, a topic, what is psychology, why do we study it, the goals, and then questions. It'll always end with those questions. So here, this content was curated. This was content that the SME actually wrote. You can see that there's citations here, so we know that it was referenced in the correct way. So students are presented kind of bits and pieces as they go. They're forced to navigate through the content, read it, continue on, and it's broken up for them in bite-sized pieces. So we'll just kind of move through this so that you get an understanding. Everything that's highlighted here, these are glossary terms that the instructional designer put in. And so that's a great little component of APL. And then here are the questions. You see it's a similar format to HDX, but notice we're only through one topic. Again, in APL, there will be questions at the end of every topic, not at the end of every unit. So there are a ton more questions that need to be developed and written by the SME in APL, because those questions really help the system to understand what does a student truly know. And that's really the beauty of the adaptive learning process. So students will answer these. I'm not doing so hot here, but that's fine. And we will exit, we'll save for next time. So students will be guided through that. If they need to revisit it, the system will put them back at the beginning. If they can move on and unlock different areas of their path, then they will do that. So that's pretty interesting, but that gives you a better idea of what the content's actually going to look like in APL as well. So remember, with HDX and APL, 2 units per week is what we're looking for in terms of development, curation of that content. We cannot link out in HDX or APL. And those two systems, although both adaptive, are different. HDX I like to say has kind of a shiny interface. It looks really nice. And APL is more, the shine is actually behind the scenes. We get a lot of data from APL, and it really is very personalized for the student. HDx and APL are both adaptive though, so just something to keep in mind.